you're feeling lonely.
Hello, campers. Heidi, hi. Oh, what a wet downpour we had last night. But how fresh it makes everything smell this morning. Those of you whose chalets leaked a little bit can take your bedding along to the boiler house where we have provided a wringer and drying lines entirely free of charge.
Hello,
Hello.
and welcome to Planet Marzipan, the Fish and Marillion podcast. I'm Mezza, and here's my mate,
Craig Houston.
Hello, welcome to Planet Marzipan. I'm Mezza. I'm here with my good friend,
Craig.
Craig.
Yeah, Fear's still getting cleaned out somewhere. The rehab
Cleaned
didn't
out?
work.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Cleaned out.
Do you want to rephrase that?
No, it's something to do with the jet wash and the vacuum, I think.
She getting a rebore? What's happening? No. Moving on. As you can see from the title of the episode, we are going to try and remember what happened in 2002. And to do that, we need quite a lot of help. So we welcome back to the podcast, Mikey Kay.
Good evening, gents.
Hi, Mikey. James Levey.
Evening all.
Hi, James. Andrew Barnsley Wood.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Barnes. And we welcome back Fraser Marshall as well.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome back to the podcast, guys. We are going to talk about the very first residential Marillion Weekend in April 2002 at Pontins at Brean Sands. Can you all remember that?
Yes.
Well, James can't because he wasn't there, but he was
Okay.
there the night. Was it 2 nights before?
2 nights before in Cardiff, yeah.
Ah, you're at Jumping Jacks. Cool. Okay.
Yes.
Well, in last week's episode, the listeners heard about how Lucy and George and a bit of help from Mark and lots of other people came up with the idea and organised the first weekend. So we're going to attempt to review it from some distance in time.
It's a tall order, but we'll try.
Fraser, you were still part of the web at that point, were you?
No, I wasn't. No, I
Yeah.
was pre-web at that time. It was
Okay.
October 2003, I think it was, that I officially joined.
Right. Okay. So was anybody on site early for that? I think you were, Craig, weren't you? For some reason.
Yeah, me and Mikey, we were there. We went in the night before because, as previously mentioned on last week's, we were bringing some cake toppers down because they were doing birthday cakes for everybody's birthday. So we went in the night previous, and the guys had already set up. So we basically spent the evening in the bar with like the band and crew and everybody having a few drinkies.
Okay. See, inner circle even then, listeners, look.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Guess where water can't?
I wasn't there early. I had to come in with the Great Unwashed. But the band back in those days used to do a warm-up gig, and as we've already alluded to that fact, James was at that warm-up gig in Cardiff.
Yeah.
This was 2 nights before, wasn't it? Yeah.
The Wednesday.
Third. So what did the band play, James? Do you remember the gig? Remember the venue?
Yeah. It was a bit of an odd venue. We drove down during the day to Cardiff because I don't know if it's still there or what it's called now. It's attached to, I can't remember what the stadium's called. It was called the Millennium Stadium at the time. And you basically went into the bottom of it. And it was reminded a bit of some sort of, I don't know, Jumping Jacks was a chain, wasn't it? Because there was one near us in Hemel Hempstead. And it was just an odd venue. It was a really small stage.
Some
Go on,
info
John.
about the venue on Setlist FM. It says it later became Sub 29 and then the Millennium Music Hall. And
There you go.
also the H Band played there in September 2002 as well. But carry on. Sorry, totally interrupted.
I think H knew the manager or something. That was where the connection was. If Fraser's nodding, and I think that's why they got the gig there. But as a warm up, it was they sort of came out and played Brave, and looked incredibly nervous. To start off with, there was a few missed cues. I seem to remember the argument at the beginning of Runaway was missing, and then they made an absolute balls up of Hard as Love. They sort of brothers broke a string, and then H sort of jumped. They sort of looked at each other and go, "What do we do now?" Then H jumped on the piano to do the middle bit, and they all kicked back in again. And as after H sort of had the burglars take him off, they just went round and round and round. They kept looking at each other, going, "When are we going to finish?" And then like they were hitting bum notes and everything, and it sort of basically all fell apart. And I seem to remember the brothers just walking up to the microphone and going, "Well, that was a bit of a disaster, wasn't it?" And sort of after that, it all picked up. You know, the sort of rest of from Hollow Man onwards, it was really good. They seemed to be on it, and then they went off after Great Escape, came back on for Made Again, then went off again, and the night before, because then they did, I think they did Between You and Me. And then H made a comment around saying, "Oh, we were on Top of the Pops last night," because I think they played Cover My Eyes on Top of the Pops too, which was on broadcast the day before. Anyway, this is Top of the Pops, and they played Cover My Eyes. And then they were sort of chatting around to do what to do next. And Ian and Pete looked at each other and started playing Interior Lulu. And the band looked at the rest of the band. You could hear them just go, "Oh, fuck off." Just... And then they went into a stonking version of Interior Lulu. Right. And that was it. That was the end of the gig.
You've seen the Brave Live 2002 film, haven't you? So
yeah.
You can see it. I mean, we'll comment about it again, I'm sure, shortly. But the stage is really small at Pontins. Yeah. How was the Jumping Jack stage in comparison to that?
Pretty similar.
Right.
Pretty similar from what I remember. And what I've been told since is they were so worried about how Brave was going to sound two days later. They went to Pontins on the Thursday and ran through the Brave set twice to try and iron out what the problems were and things like that, ready for the Friday.
Right. Well, certainly makes sense, doesn't it?
One thing you said there, James, which I thought was quite interesting, because I've got the e-web in front of me from when they announced the warm-up at Jumping Jacks, and it says, "This is the club gig specifically arranged to tighten up the music, and as such, we won't be incorporating the production effects and theatrics until the performance at the Marillion Weekend." And yet you've just said he got pulled up off the stage by the two balaclavaed chaps. So was there much of that stuff in the end?
I think there was a little bit of H's. I might be wrong because memory and all that, but I do seem to be remembering some bits and pieces of that. It wasn't like the full, lighting shows, backdrops, and everything like that. But I remember some of the bits and pieces. I guess they were just going through the different cues and what would be triggering, and bit they weren't sure of. So, bit hybrid, I think.
I mean, to be fair, there's not a huge production when they got to Pontins, is there? I mean, there's a screen.
It's funny because the screen set up at the back, it was a very, very it's quite a narrow screen, but it was quite cinema scope.
Well, I think it was designed for the following night, for the second night, for the bingo thing, wasn't it? So they could get all the text on in 3 columns or whatever it was, 3 or 4 columns. But okay, well, and is there a reason why you didn't go to the weekend, James?
I think at the time I didn't really know many other Marillion fans. I think I knew I was starting to I got back into the band in sort of with Anorak in 2001, but not met really many friends. And I thought, you know, it was a bit of all new to me. So it was a case of like, okay, I won't go to that. And funnily enough, I think Barnes, you and I met a couple of months afterwards. But
Well, possibly.
yeah, that's the reason why I wasn't there.
Okay. I mean, I have to say the main draw for me, as soon as they announced Brave was going to be on at the weekend, I think that's how they sold the initial rush of 1,000 tickets. Lucy said to us last week, because it was
1,000 tickets in 24 hours.
It's such a big deal having not played it since the tour of the album. I just want to. I mean, Barnes, we had a similar conversation this weekend. We briefly talked about the weekend we're talking about now.
Yeah,
you were in a similar position to James, where you didn't really know many people.
Don't think I knew anybody at all. I don't think I might have known Andy Rotherham perhaps, but I didn't really know anybody. And I went with my girlfriend at the time, wife as she is now, and she definitely didn't know anybody. So, and it was my plan in my head was to get to know as many people as possible. But
how did that work out?
No, it was a disaster because quite rightly, my lady wife didn't want to be smashing around in the rock bar till 3 a.m. for some reason. So,
and now your lady wife doesn't go to these things, does she?
Well, it's funny how things work out. Isn't it?
Well, obviously we knew each other as Cakeys, didn't we, Mikey, Craig?
We certainly did.
Although you didn't invite me the night before, but I'll let.
Oh no, you weren't invited to that. In a circle and all that, John. For me, it was a no-brainer, really. I mean, Brave live was absolutely amazing when Craig dragged me to see that. I think it was on the second leg of the tour, wasn't it, Craig?
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing, and it's stuck with me to this day. But obviously, there was no visual record made of that tour, so knowing that we were going to this and it was going to be filmed, coming off the back of the Anorak tour, which was absolutely fucking stonking, we just knew we were going to be in for a good time.
Yeah, and Fraser, you must have known some people in the Marillion sort of fandom.
I did. I'd sort of hooked up with a few people at the H gigs in Dingwalls back in 2001. So I was starting to get a group of friends there, and there's perhaps a story that I've told before, but I might tell at some point during this about who I met at Butlins, at Pontins rather. But yeah, I went down with my best mate, who was one of the people who, when I was sort of 17, 18, first played me Marillion, and his girlfriend, and then there was a guy at work who was. He was one of the Geordie lot. He was a Geordie chap called Martin, who came down with us as well. So I went with people that I knew very much. Yeah.
And the big question is, what was your first thought when you saw the camp? I'll start with Fraser because he's smiling the most.
I mean, it was, if I recall correctly, it wasn't a particularly nice day, was it? The first day, I think it was raining, and I mean, I'm from a place called Leigh-on-Sea, which is part of Southend, so I know what seaside towns are like. I've grown up in one and everything. And you looked at Brean Sands, you went, yeah, this is a step down from Southend. It's really, really shabby, and so shabby, I think, was sort of it was a bit so like, oh, okay, this is going to be interesting.
I was going to say, weirdly enough, and I know this sounds like madness, but I never saw it through those eyes at all. And I remember reading on the Mall, the online forum, that people enjoyed the weekend, but they weren't so sure about the accommodation. Whereas I thought it was really good accommodation if you compare it to a festival where you would be camping. And I thought it's like a festival, but it's indoors. And it was like, it didn't cost a lot. I thought, I literally didn't see what people were saying about it being bad, because I was I was imagining it being in one up from tents rather than one down from a hotel, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but Barnes, some of the stuff you've booked in the last couple of years is worse than it was in Pontins. So that means nothing, does it?
Yeah, but it's true. I mean, at no point does what I mean. Obviously, the town was not the world's nicest town. Let's say it is. But I never thought that we were putting a really bad accommodation. I just thought it was much better than camping in the middle. It was April or sometime in the middle of spring.
Yeah.
It's much better than camping in the middle of spring because we're indoors. That's how I might.
Well, I suppose that's a way of looking at it. Yeah, yeah.
On the other hand, you probably wouldn't force yourself to sleep on a mat for incontinence and on a bed that was too short for you and things like that.
Well,
So
I remember it only being half the slats in the bed. It was like something from the Great Escape or something like that. People trying to tunnel out or something. And I also do. I don't know if you all remember you were there, but I remember you got into your chalet thing and go right, put the lights on, and the lights didn't work. You going, what's going off here? Then you'd realise you had to go back to the shop and buy a token to make the electricity work. Do you remember that? Like a parking ticket.
well,
like 40p or something to make it work all weekend. Something ridiculous like that.
that apparently I've gone on back on the Wayback Machine and looked at the website from back in the day,
All
and there were two classes of accommodation,
right.
and you'll enjoy. Hang on, let me find it here. Yeah, there are two grades of accommodation available: classic and club. These vary from basic to superior class, and I suspect we must have been in what was supposedly superior and didn't need electricity because we definitely didn't buy it.
All right. Yeah.
And if that was superior, it does make me think, was it much better than camping in the other ones? I mean, there were people who said there was a bit of mildew and stuff.
Oh, there's lots of mildew, yeah, but there is in a tent.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
just comparing it to camping, isn't he?
Thing is with me though, I think growing up watching Heidi High, we just embraced the whole just stupidity of the whole thing.
Yeah, I think there's an element of that about it.
Yeah,
yeah, I do think that's really important to say actually that for all its shortcomings and everything, it genuinely didn't really matter because the camaraderie was so great and all the rest of it was so great that you sort of, as you say, you sort of laughed at it and went, oh, this is just preposterous. From feet are hanging off the bottom of the bed, or
I think
the arse is coming through the slats, or
we wanted like some kind of fold out bed or something like that, which had dips in. So.
Yeah, there was definitely a slanting angle going on with the bed. I definitely remember that.
Well, yeah,
It was
the two different sides of the beds went down into the middle, didn't
That's
they?
right, yeah.
Both got
That's
in
right.
and rolled down into the middle of the bed.
Can you remember what the price of the tickets were? Because I remember it being very, very, what's the word? Not very expensive, essentially. Was it 60 quid or something?
I'm looking at Fraser. If he's on Wayback Machine, he's probably the...
yeah. Well, initially when it was announced, it was price per person will range from between 99 and 109.
Right.
And then let's have a look later on. So classic was 99, club was 119 per person.
99 it was.
And then if you didn't have the full number of people for whatever size of chalet, I think they pretty much all 4 people, then they would add a supplement if you had a spare place or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I'm currently on TripAdvisor and it has 2 stars at the moment. Brean Sands.
Out of 1,000.
Somebody, I can't find it right this minute, but about 2 or 3 years ago, somebody did a retrospective TripAdvisor review for Marillion Weekend.
Yes, I read it. I read it today.
Yeah, I can't find it now. Shame. I'll keep looking.
Mikey, you found the leaflet
itinerary. Yeah. Literally, I've been looking for this for the last 2 weeks, and I knew I had it somewhere. And my 2003 one was quite rightly inside the Before First Light DVD, so I assumed that this would be inside the Brave Live DVD. No, it was folded into a square and shoved inside Anorak in the UK. Why, I know not. But obviously Anorak in the UK came out in the same month, so I guess when I was putting me suitcase away, it just went away it went. And I hadn't actually opened that CD probably since. And there it was. So yeah, itinerary is here.
So According to the itinerary, then
subject to change.
arrivals was 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and then the doors to the main hall opened at 6. So we didn't have a lot of turnaround time, did we?
I do remember standing outside for quite some time.
What, trying to get in or to get into the venue?
No, just standing around doing nothing.
Well, that's
I
not.
think we were stood in a grassy knoll, if I remember rightly, outside what looked like, you know, when schools used to have those prefabricated outdoor, like, overflow schools, you know, it was like that. Like Craig said, it was a bit
If that
hidey-high, but
helps.
I think it was a bit more The Great Escape than hidey-high, to be completely honest with you.
Speaking of the Great Escape, we did actually have the first of the Cakey Boy T-shirts.
We did.
Which was
We
the
did.
Great Escape Committee T-shirts.
Yeah. Yeah. What were you, Craig?
I can't even remember. I really can't remember.
Mikey was something about tunnel.
Yes, it was. I can't remember. Honestly, can't remember.
We all
It
had
was bad.
first, yeah.
Whatever it was a bit
Inappropriate.
tongue-in-cheek.
Of course, it was inappropriate. Of course, it was. We've never been classy. I'm just looking on Discogs. So Anorak in the UK did come out in April 2002. So I have a feeling that this was where it was first on sale, which is probably why you put that in there.
Very possibly. Very possibly.
Great detective work there, Mezza.
Well, you know.
Inspector Fanny of the Yard.
So I'm going to ask questions you probably can't answer, but did you sort of explore the site, or did all of that happen on the Saturday morning?
I think that happened on a Saturday, really.
We actually left the site and went into the town on the Saturday. That was a mistake. Yeah,
Is that why he said the camp's not too bad? Because when he came back,
Yeah, but it was a bit
this is a
desperate.
step up.
It was a bit desperate on the outside.
You wipe your feet on the way in.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, the first act was Aziz. And for our research, I think quite a few of us have viewed the Wish You Were Here box set, the relevant discs out of that.
Yeah.
And the Brave Live 2002, whichever version you've got.
Yeah.
So on Wish You Were Here, on disc 3, the plus support, Aziz and H doing Really Like is on there.
Yeah. You've had a watch of that today, haven't you, Craig?
Yeah, it's great fun.
It's very loose, isn't it?
Yeah. He's very doing his very hippie style singing, and quite loose singing H. Seems to be
it starts off good and then it kind of meanders a bit, I think. I enjoyed it. It brought some memories flooding back, but I think I enjoyed it more there than what I did watching it on my telly today. But that's just me.
You were just excited,
Did he-
there, weren't you? Yeah.
Did he have his lasers?
One of the two.
I don't think he did at that point, did he? Was he?
I don't
The
think
lasers
so.
came later on, I think. He
No,
wasn't
it was late.
flamboyant at that point.
I remember really enjoying it, so I thought it was terrific.
Yeah, I remember it
I
being
really
good.
enjoyed his stuff you know, having seen him do particularly Now and Then at the H gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he did do that, didn't he?
I think so, yeah.
That's always terrific live.
Yeah.
And I thought he was great.
And then the running order says it's Robin Bull. Was that the itch then?
That was the itch, yes. Which was
Okay.
instrumental. Which really, I mean, it's really, Robin Bull is such a fantastic guitarist, and this is actually a canny little performance. We watching it.
Didn't he sneak?
Commuter, I thought was amazing. Sorry, James.
I was going to say, didn't he sneak either the Lucky or the Credo riff in to his set? I seem to remember somebody saying.
I can't remember. It's not,
I'd love
not
to be
the
able
two
to
that is,
confirm or deny that, but I can't.
not on the two that's on the Wish You Were Here that I rewatched. Again, it was 23 years ago.
Yeah. Barnes, you got any memory of these?
Yeah, I've actually. I was quite near the front, which is almost a never for me.
Not like you, that, yeah.
No, it's not. I was quite near the front for Aziz, and then I drifted further back for the Marillion show. And I remember the stage being quite wide but quite low, wasn't it? It was almost. I mean, it was almost not a stage. It was almost like stood in front of you, really.
It's really narrow and low, from what I recall.
Narrow as in not much space behind them.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
you
yeah,
certainly
yeah.
notice it.
There's
Some
hardly
of
any
the-
depth
No
with it,
depth.
but it's quite
Yeah, not
wide,
depth.
wide but really slim, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
some questionable shots. I mean, the Boom Boom Boys were famous for, let's just have the singer off to the left or the right of the screen, and
But also, I mean, that when you look at the video, I mean, times have changed, haven't they? But in the quality, it's just like the quality of
Yeah.
what you used to do in the late early 2000s. I mean, it really does like something from yesteryear, isn't it? Really,
But you can even see the difference between the Pontins video and the Butlins video.
one, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
there's a step up there a year later, but still nowhere near anything like what Tim does now.
yeah. I mean, times,
But watching it from somebody who wasn't there, the thing that made me think the stage is tiny is you could see lots and lots of people at the wings watching the gig.
Yeah, there's a
You
lot
thought,
of that, especially
"Goodness,
through Brave
yeah,
and that. You see like the
Yeah.
family and the kids and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah,
and they're there all the time, aren't they? And then when they show you sort of Mark's side of the stage, you can see the folks on the side of the stage. They're almost lit up, aren't they?
Yeah.
At some points. Yeah.
I was trying to remember, was Mark, because on the video, Mark and Ian are swapped.
Yeah,
Was it-
Mark,
were they
Mark,
doing
yeah,
it?
yeah. Mark was on the left hand side.
But Ian's
Yeah.
on the right. Ian's more
He's in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So on the left hand side, you've got Pete, Mark, Ian, and H, and that's to allow space for H when he wants to stand up to sing to his left. If you see what I mean. But it was a really tight stage, and I mean, at the time we loved what the Boom Boom Boys did, but some of the shots now they're almost underneath Rothers, taking shots of him playing the guitar, and
well, there is a reason for that. The fan.
the
Have you noticed on the Brave one that Rothers is not in that video a hell of a lot? And when you do, you see this stonking white fan
Big fan. Yeah.
off over his shoulder. And if you watch it from bootleg, but the next night, it's a black fan, and you see more of Rothers.
Oh right, okay. Well, there you go.
I thought you meant it was somebody in the crowd.
I thought it would be an
getting in
offensive
the
to
shot.
somebody. Yeah.
That's one for the quick.
This big rotating fan.
Store that one away,
Down.
Fraser, for 2 years' time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, when they did Brave, we know they did Brave in its entirety. How did you feel about it when you saw it?
I have to say, for me, because at the time that I saw Brave on the original tour, I was still finding that album really hard going. Like quite a lot of people, it wasn't kind of where I thought they were going to go, and I found it quite hard work, and it hadn't all gelled for me. And so I saw it and I appreciated bits of it. I think that going to see it in Pontins was probably the first time I'd seen it after it had all made sense in my head and come together as a piece. And I think that's probably not entirely uncommon that quite a lot of people were in that situation. And so I remember absolutely loving it because it was the first time that it had really worked as a piece for me.
Barnes?
Almost very similar story to Fraser, actually. I do remember, I mean, as you know, Brave's not my favourite album. There are others in front of it. But
I still keep inviting you back. I don't know how that's happening.
But I do remember quite clearly it's the first time I've ever cried at a gig. Not the last, but the first time I've ever
Far
cried.
from the last.
Far from the last. And there was just something about it that just sort of struck home. And I think it's probably, as Fraser says, actually, it's the first time it actually really meant something rather than being an album that found a tad difficult to get into, I suppose.
Mikey?
Well, I'm glad you just said that, Barnsley, because I was actually choked up watching it today. Brave hit me like a freight train the first day I ever heard it, and it's stuck with me ever since. I think it's still to this day, it's hard to shake it off the number one spot for me. And being in that tight space with all these people around, experiencing it in that setting at that moment, it was just mind-blowing. And me and John have had a little bit of banter today when we were talking about it. And Donald back this up. He said, he thinks that this could be his favourite.
No, it is.
Brave.
It is my favourite version of Brave.
And
of
I
all
had
of
to
it.
think about it because I thought, like, recently I've been playing this was the 2013 live. I've been playing that a lot more. And then going back to this, I was like, why haven't you been playing this version? It's absolutely fantastic. And even stuff like the overdubs and the special effects and the samples and stuff, they're really high up in the mix. So you're hearing stuff that maybe passes you by when you're listening to it in the studio version, and certainly on the 2013 version. And it might be slightly less tight than the 2013 version, but it's certainly got a lot going for it. I think it's got more heart, this version of it.
I think there's some...
And they seem to be really enjoying themselves playing it. Mark's concentration all the way through until they get to the ends, like, he's beavering away at the switches and stuff. And I'm like, he's triggering samples and, playing these keys. Every single member of that band are on top form in that gig, and it's absolutely amazing to watch.
What I was going to say as well was there was a real vibe in the audience. I guess it's because it's the first one, and no one saw it. Well, I certainly didn't know very many people, but it's almost as one of these. We're all here. This is the place we all need to be. Sort of vibe in the air being played. I think that's what sort of took me down. Actually, like almost like
took me down.
Well, you know what I mean? It was like that.
Yeah.
It was that sort of. I'm so glad we're here. It's like there's no way I'm missing this event. And I remember when Lucy announced it, irrespective of Brave, I thought there's no way I'm missing this. I was just, I'm definitely going. And it's sort of that all came into fruition. I think on that. Must have been the Friday night, was it?
It was, yeah. Craig?
I'm lucky enough to have got Brave quite early because, I mean, I like John at Leeds Town and Country Club.
Leeds was
the
amazing.
First leg of the tour.
Absolutely amazing.
Absolutely fantastic gig.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic gig. So that cemented my love for Brave in the February that it came out. So I didn't have a long lead up to actually getting the album. So Brave has always been by far one of my favorites. And I love the Brave too. I mean, I still to this day think that when H sang Brave, the song itself at Newcastle City Hall, is possibly one of my favorite H moment of him vocally, because he just knocked that out of the park. So coming to see Brave, I mean, I just love it. And I think this, like John, I think this version of it has just got something about it. Visually, it's a bit, a bit of a hodgepodge because of the filming of it and the stage setup and stuff like that. But I think as a performance, it's fantastic.
But I think it's weirdly, I like the 2013 version, but there's too much staging in that for me. This is closer to what it was on the original tour, just with the lighting and the makeup and the pigtails and the flowers, and that was about it. There wasn't a lot more besides that.
Did they show video? I'm trying to remember. They show
there's a screen at the back. Yeah, there's that narrow screen at the back that we've just alluded to, which has some bits on it as well.
Yeah.
But it was quite minimalistic, and it's a fairly small venue. I mean, it's 1,600, I think Lucy said, wasn't it?
Yeah, 1,600.
So it's a fairly small venue, and to see our band doing my favorite album in there, the first weekend of its type. I knew some of these guys. I didn't know some of the other guys here, but you knew faces that you recognised from gigs, and you could just have a chat, and it was the start of what it's become. We know what they are.
Yeah, it's the germ, isn't it? It's the germ. It's the very, very start of the seeds of everything, and it's where a lot of people met for the first time.
Yeah.
And
well, watching the video for somebody who wasn't there, I get your point, John, because it was seemed to be Brave in a rock club, and how it reminded me of when I saw them at the Civic in Aylesbury. Very minimalistic thing, very hot and sweaty by the look of it. And it was, they were really enjoying themselves playing it. And yeah, it's a great version.
And Mark and Pete's backing vocals are fairly high in the mix, unusually as well.
They are. They're really good as well.
Or in the mix.
Well, yes, in Pete's case. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, they encored with Made Again. So they went off after Great Escape, came back on, did Made Again. And then because they can remember it, because they'd only played it about 4 weeks earlier, they went into Between You and Me. And then
2 days earlier.
Well, you're 2 days earlier.
Yeah.
But they'd been playing it consistently on the Anorak
Yes.
show, haven't they?
Yeah.
And according to Setlist FM, there were 4 encores. Made Again, they went off, came back, did Between You and Me, went off, came back, did Cover My Eyes, and then went off, came back and did The Answering Machine.
But they're not on the Brave Live CD or anything, no, are they?
No, they're not. No.
No.
Cover My Eyes is on as a Easter egg, isn't it, on the DVD?
Yeah, they were recorded. They are loose versions, put it that way.
James has heard them. And here's a snippet now. Oh,
I mean,
Yeah.
my memory of the encores though was that it was a real pressure release because obviously Brave is so intense.
yeah.
You really do need that, that pressure valve to be released, and so that was they were really good from that perspective. And again, I think it all feeds into what Barnes was saying a few minutes ago about the whole sort of thing of being in that room and having had the music, that then released the wider pressure of, oh, now we can go and start talking to people and going, oh, that was amazing, because then you've got a thing to talk to people about as well. And so that whole sort of pressure of, the arriving on site and going, well, what do we do? Do we talk to people? Do we not? How do we conduct ourselves? That goes, because then you go, wasn't that amazing? There's you're in, you can start talking to people. And so from that moment, it's a completely different vibe as well.
Well, Marillion were on at 9, and the running order has the Bays on at 11. Now I've got a feeling we didn't go and see the Bays because we'd already started having a drink and socialising.
I have no recollection of that at all.
Did we not hang around for a bit? I've got vague recollections of possibly some of it. But...
Do you remember anything about the Bays, John?
Not really, no.
Well, I stayed and watched them. I knew of them beforehand, or I tell you maybe what it was when they announced them as a support. I thought I'll do my research, if you like. And they were more like almost a dance band, really.
Yeah,
but it became a discotheque, really, for want of a better word, really. So we stuck around for about half an hour or so, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. The thing about the Bays is, so it was Andy Gangadine was their drummer from the H band.
Yeah.
And their sets were always entirely improvised. So there's no songs as such. They just turn up on stage and they jam all that stuff out. And I do remember it being quite noticeable that quite a big portion of the crowd just went, no, this isn't our music. We don't want to listen to this. So there was quite a big exodus from the hall. But I have to say, I really enjoyed it. And I was sort of, I went in with quite an open mind and just thought, yeah, I'll give it a listen. And actually, yeah, really enjoyed it. And I've sort of seen them a couple of times since.
Are they an ongoing concern, the Bays?
They were great.
Are they still around?
I don't know whether they are these days.
I'd be surprised if they are. I don't know.
But although we'd only sort of arrived on site maybe 3-4 o'clock, I think once we'd had a few drinks, it was early hours of Saturday morning. So, does anybody remember anything about the amenities? There was the golf.
Whoa!
Oh, Barnes, go on.
Right, it's not over yet. Then we all went to the Victoria pub.
Okay.
And I was with my lady wife, so I was on best behaviour at that point. So
you stood in the corner watching.
But there's 2 things I do remember about it. One was it was before the smoking ban, so literally it was like the blood fire in there. It was like literally completely. It was quite small with no aircon, and everybody seemed to be smoking. And then the second thing, which I don't exactly remember, but it was just getting into its stride when we left, was is it Jan Erik from Gazpacho and all his Norwegian guys were like were sort of taking the. Keeping the party going, shall we say, and it was becoming slightly raucous at that point, which sort of leads in tomorrow into the following day.
It does, yes. We'll come on to that very shortly, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
It's almost seamless, Barnes, that.
Almost.
Anything else from Friday that anybody wants to chip in?
I was going to ask, so Fraser, you met a certain special person over this weekend, so was that on the first day or was that on the second day?
Do you know, terribly, I can't remember. I've got to.
Oh man!
Take it up quick.
The actual answer is I met the woman who would become my wife pretty much the moment I arrived at Pontins, because as we sort of pulled up, did you have to go and collect keys or something like that?
Yeah, you had to
I
get
don't
an
know. We
envelope.
were at the
Yeah,
main
yeah,
thing, and
yeah.
and we were doing that, and literally ran into Paul Stagg and Paul Walmsley and Lisa Walmsley, who I knew from the Dingwalls gigs, and it was them who'd said, "Oh, Lisa had said, oh, you've got to meet my flatmate. She's from Leon C, where you're from." And so there was already this sort of thing of, oh, you ought to meet each other. So I met her very early doors, like 4 o'clock on the Friday afternoon. But I think it was the next night when it was the Norwegian chalet party. I think that was the Saturday night, where it all sort of got a bit more interesting. I can carry on with the tale if you like, or I can leave it till Saturday.
Let's come back to it very shortly. Let's do Saturday, and then we'll lead up to the next highlight of the Norwegian party. Definitely explicit this podcast if you talk about the Norwegian party. Saturday, 12 o'clock, doors to the main hall open and swap the band, followed by a Q&A. So
it's funny that swap the band was one of the first things at the first weekends. I always had it in my head that swap the band started at Butlins, but obviously it started at Butlins.
No. I mean, you'll recognise some of the names on here for people who swapped the band. Starting with the first one, between you and me, had Adrian Holmes on drums.
Never heard of him.
Yes, you have. And for that, you can explain who he is.
No, carry on.
No, you can explain who he is.
Adrian's a lovely guy. I've not seen him for... What do you mean, who is he then?
Was he in the Web UK at that point?
No,
he was in Skyline. Was he in Skyline Drifters then? Was that too early?
Oh,
he might have been Skyline.
Probably around about then, yeah. It was probably around about then.
Yeah, and I think he currently works for Steve Hackett, doesn't he? I believe.
Yeah,
he's done that. I think has he done Steve Wilson as well?
He's done Stephen Wilson,
yeah,
but I think he's now currently on the Hackett tour. Yeah,
I'm sure he's done stuff for Fish as well.
He's done what? Sorry, James.
Didn't he do merch for Fish at one point, or am I thinking of someone else?
Possibly. I don't know.
I don't think
Certainly,
so.
when the Porkies played Albert Hall before they split, he was certainly tour managing that. So.
He's a legend, though.
He is a legend.
Guy.
Yeah, lovely man.
Second track in the Swap the Band was Easter, with Matt Cowdean Palmer on keyboards and Shane Faulkner on guitar. No One Can
chairman.
With Susie Island. Sugar Mice with Phil Harrison. 80 Days with Rick Armstrong on guitar.
Yeah,
never heard of him.
Personal friend of Craig. Afraid of Sunlight with the aforementioned Jan Orm from Gazpacho, without a voice though.
Yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it? It's brilliant. It's on I watched it this morning on the Space. I guess it's on the DVD as well.
It is, yeah.
But it was just brilliant. And everyone essentially trying to will him on to do to hit the high note.
Well, he got H to come in and sing the choruses, didn't he? So he sang the verses, and H steps up to sing the choruses. But there is one point during it where H is so into it, he doesn't step forward, and Jan sort of looking at him as if, "No, I need you now, mate." And then King with Matt Coffey on drums, who sold his drum kit to pay for his flight from Australia.
Yeah.
As I recall.
And it was good as well, wasn't it?
He was amazing.
Did he smash all the skins on Ian's drums or something? I had to replace half the skins or something because he hit them so hard. Something like that, didn't it? There's some backstory to it.
But again, it was the first time we'd seen this, and for fans to get a chance.
But he came back the following year, didn't he?
He did, yeah. But as fans to watch fellow fans up, they were having the time of their life, weren't they? And it all sounded brilliant.
Yeah, it was very good.
Great stuff.
And that was followed by the Q&A, which Craig, you and I both watched last day.
Yes, we watched it. It's quite funny. And it's like there's so many almost serious questions in there. How many sales of this have you had on? How much money did you make doing this? How many sales of Anorak have had? No. So and the band are going, it's not the kind of shit we want. We want to have some fun.
Well,
So you could
Oh,
Not
so-
these days.
those sort of questions wouldn't get past Lucy now, would they?
no. Well, no, but it was. I think it was questions that were put into a bucket, and they picked.
It was,
They
yeah.
just picked them as
it
well.
was.
They hadn't been vetted at all.
Yeah, it's good. And I seem to recall Mark's on quite good form. H
Yes.
and Mark are kind of hogging the mic. So the main hall closed at 2:30 because the band were doing a signing session.
Yes, and that signing session. They've
Oh,
never
the
done
signing
same,
session.
They've never done it the same way again since.
I think
I mean, it was
did you have a
pretty
ticket for
crazy.
this one, or was it just one where you just queued?
I think you just went, if I remember right, Fraser, wasn't it? You just went
Yeah.
and got.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think it
We
was
we
pretty
went,
much a
we hung
free-for-all
around, and then we buggered off.
Well, there is some
because the
footage.
queue was so long.
There's some footage on the DVD of some very grim people standing in long queues.
There were certainly very long queues, and there were quite a few people who seemed to have brought their entire collections for the band to sign. They were literally bowed down by the weight of stuff. You know, most people were pretty sort of considerate and brought a couple of items, but a few maybe not quite so.
Yeah, there's a truck getting reversed in with a pallet on it.
Yeah, wouldn't happen now, but yeah, very different then. Everybody could try and get something signed, but and no wonder the band were shattered at the end of this weekend, is there really?
Well, they did actually have to sort of call it off, didn't they? They had to call
Yeah.
a halt to it, and then they actually had to restart it again the following day,
Yeah.
just to sort of get the other people in. And as you say, that would just simply never happen now. It just wouldn't be allowed to happen.
And then the doors for the evening opened again at 6:15. So it wasn't a huge turnaround time there, even with the wishing tree scheduled to be on at 6.
Don't remember them being on. Did they do their show? I don't remember.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really good.
Mm.
Yeah, just a short set, but
Yeah, there's a couple of the tracks on the Wish You Were Here DVD. There's
Is Nightwater
Thunder
on
and
there?
Tinsel. Thunder at the Nightwater and Thunder and Tinseltown.
yeah. I remember
I
being really
particularly
good.
remember Thunder in Tinseltown, which was terrific, and Joe Rothery was on backing vocals and was really good.
Yeah, that was good. I remember them being really good. And then, Craig, do you want to take up the next one at 6:45? Francis Dunner in the Grass Virgins.
Which didn't happen because he pulled out. Was it about a day or two beforehand?
Yeah. Well, I think it was the day before, wasn't it? As I understand it.
Yes.
This is all hearsay, so
Yes,
don't quote me on anything.
Yes, we know why. We shall just move on.
Yes, all right. Francis is an incredible guitarist, but yes, he changed his mind at the last minute.
Yes, he decided that the accommodation at Pontins was not quite to his.
He expected camping and he got a chalet.
There was no slats in his bed.
No, he had it on the rider that he was actually going to get a yellow coat, but they just couldn't do it. Miss Cathcart wasn't available.
But anyhow, the next support to Wishing Tree were White Buffalo.
Oh, great band.
Amazing band. Yeah, loved them. Go on, James, talk about White Buffalo.
Well, I obviously I'd seen White Buffalo support them on the previous year because they supported them on the Anorak tour, and there's just it's a pity they went their separate ways. You know, some of the tracks from Waiting to Go Home is just amazing. You know, Wasted, The Trench, etc., etc.
Yeah. I mean, Wasted is just amazing. It really is. It's on the DVD. It's absolutely brilliant.
And I think Fresh New Life as an album, the first album's absolutely brilliant. You know, it was produced by Dave Meegan, and you can tell. You know, it's amazing stuff.
I'm still trying to get a copy of that.
That's a solo album, though, isn't it?
That's yeah. I'm just trying to. What's his name?
But it is available on all streaming services.
Oh, is it okay?
Yeah,
What's
so
his
you can
name?
get that, and you can get the Fresh New Life EPs on there as well.
Phil Campbell, in it, yeah.
Phil Campbell.
Phil Campbell, sorry, Phil Campbell. Because they did I've got a live album of theirs as well, live at the King's Head.
Yes.
Or something.
That's good as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a 3-piece with Phil Campbell, Evan Jenkins on drums, and a bass player called Hossy, who had like a blonde Mohican, didn't he? On certain.
He was,
Yeah.
was he,
He was a lovely
he
guy.
was an Aussie, wasn't he?
Sorry, he was in.
Was
Yeah,
he in-
yeah.
He was an Aussie, yeah.
They still
Or
play
is an
together.
Aussie.
They still play together, those two. I understand. I'm just trying to find who for.
Yeah, is it somebody quite jazzy? I think
It is, yeah. Sorry.
somebody mentioned them to me recently. Yeah,
You've already said this, haven't you, Fraser? Is it Matt Schofield Trio?
no, the Neil Cowley trio.
Neil Cowley, all right. He plays with Matt Schofield as well, who's another jazzer apparently.
All right.
But yes, but I mean, White Buffalo were great, and they did the next convention as well, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
I don't have a set list for 2002, but they could have played Wasted 5 times over, and that would have done me. It's such a good song.
Yeah, they had a really strong set back in those days.
I mean, the two tracks that are on the
stuff like that.
that are on the Wish You Were Here are so different. You've got Wasted, that's this huge ballad, and then
Which is from 2002. Then 2003 is Time Bomb George.
Time Bomb George is just like this almost punk thrash thing. It's just so different. Really good.
It's
really.
a shame. It's a shame. It's just the two tracks, really, because I think they were probably the strongest act other than Marillion and I, really.
They were my favourite support act for a long time.
Yeah, they were brilliant.
Well, I'm sure you've got something to say about the next support act, though, Craig, because the next support act was the prog rock gods that are Cry No More,
which I still think are absolutely hilarious. I mean, they really divide the audience. They really divide the audience. I know, speaking last week, if people have heard the episode, you know, the George and that saying that they're the people that they've had the most complaints about, and it's Robbie is just. He's just a force of nature,
weren't they, if I'm not mistaken?
The what? Sorry,
there's a bit of effing and jeffing, yes.
Yeah.
Roy was effing and jeffing. That's his thing, though.
All right.
So it's Roy Hill. But Cry No More were a two-piece that night. Chaz Cronk, who's a well-renowned bass player, he's played for Hackett and the Straubs and lots of people like that.
Yeah.
And then Roy Hill, who, how do you describe Roy Hill?
Part stand-up, part singer.
yeah, that's probably accurate. Yeah,
Recommend club sort of level, I would have said.
It was, but I thought he was
almost 70s stand-up comedian in the old school style.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, I seem to recall Rothers describing him as being a little bit blue, which struck me as a very sort of 1970s description of
a bit blue,
comedian.
A little bit.
Well, I remember.
I would have said. Yeah.
I remember seeing them support them at Wembley in '92, and the sort of the lights went down, the whole crowd went up, and these two guys just walked up on stage. And you might have to cut this, and he said something like, "Whoa, that's the best result, best cheer we've had," and then just went, "She was only 13. She was only 13, but I fucked her anyway."
Yeah,
and that was his opening line.
That's one of the songs. Was it? Is it?
Yeah.
Or was it the not the Eskimo? So was it the Eskimo song or something that's called?
It's the manager's song, isn't it?
Yeah, manager's song. Yeah, that's brilliant. That's
I don't know. That's an Eskimo song or a Native American song, but that's she was only. But I fucked her anyway. Yeah, that's. But yes, they were comedy songs. Really.
Pray to God you're going to cut this out, Craig. Otherwise, we'll never work again.
No, it's staying
no,
in.
it's just staying in.
It's staying in.
Oh God! All right, I'll have me notice in now then.
Cancelled.
I mean, Lucy said they got a lot of complaints about them, didn't they?
Yes.
You either got it or you didn't, and
well, we'll talk about his stage patter in a minute.
Okay. Well, yeah, I enjoyed it. Cam got a set list for him, but not that it mattered. And then we got Marillion Lottery. So I think this was where the long sort of narrow screen at the back came into its own. So behind the stage was the screen that used for Brave, and it had there were 50 balls in a bucket, numbered balls in a bucket, and each ball
were there.
Well, again, Mark's given the game away in the last episode that listeners will already heard by now, but there were apparently 50 balls in the bucket, each relating to a song, we understand that that the Web UK put a number of balls for Grendel in. So there were 4 or 5 for Grendel. It still didn't come out. And there may have been 1 or 2 that weren't in the bucket, according to Mark. But that was the premise of the thing.
I
They
think
came
the fact
on.
that there was like possibly 5 balls for Grendel and they didn't came out was just hilarious.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they came on and did King of Sunset Town, which was the agreed opener. But then when you look down the set list, as Mark said last week, it's mainly what they've been playing on the Anorak tour. So
Got away with it.
yeah. But you've got Roy doing his smutty shtick between each track and then pulling the ball out the bucket.
Which I think has been quite edited.
It's quite heavily
It
edited
has.
on the DVD. Yeah.
I've heard the full desk tape,
Have you?
and it's about 50 minutes longer than what's on the video for various reasons. There is a couple of reasons on there we'll talk about in a minute, but a lot of that is also Roy's patter being cut a lot back. I mean, he came on to say, I've got a bucket of balls, I'm going to pull them out with my penis. And then at one point he says, I'm going to put this behind my back and shake it around, but I bet I won't do that too long because Ian Mosley might get a bit funny.
It's good. Yeah.
So,
we need to hear that, James. That needs to be released.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can get Mark to do that as one of the vinyl releases. He was asking today, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It's got the making of another Trogs tape about it, that.
Well, there was also other bits on there. If you looked at, and I was bored, well, I was doing other things today, and I was watching the video, and I paused the video to see what else was on the screen, and I've got a list of what the other songs are. But there was also things like Surprise, Surprise, Buy a Drink, Band Introduction, Spontaneous Cheer. So there was other bits of songs as well.
Yeah, yeah. But the set list was King of Sunset Town, Quartz, Separated Out, When I Meet God, Uninvited Guest, Interior Lulu, which strangely didn't make the DVD. Did it, James?
Funny that.
Did it, James?
Funny that.
Yeah.
If you had to listen to that, I take it.
Mm-hmm.
Weirdly, Mr. Kelly can't remember it.
Well, basically, they started well. They pulled the ball out and they said Interior Lulu, and I think Pete says, "Oh, let's move on." And it's like, but they played it, and they starts off really well until it gets to that bit where Ian and Rothers come in on time, but Mark comes in late, so it's all off a couple of beats, and it just starts going wrong.
Well, it's funny because when we had Mark on last week, and it says he was asking about Interior Lulu, and it was a case of like, was it me? Did I cock it up? He says, and we like, we can't remember. And then after Mark left, Lucy Dean went, was it Mark?
Yeah.
For the first bit it was, and it was quite a loose, H was playing around with some of the phrasing to the song as well, so he was sort of a bit more relaxed. So that happened, and that sort of fell a bit, and I think Rothers hit a couple of bum notes, and then it came back in again, and it worked well. And then the next transition, I think up to before the Primrose Hill bit, it just sort of died, and there's a few bum notes again, and there's a few bits, and it just stops, and then H comes in and starts putting it back together, and yeah, it was an absolute car crash.
Yeah. Well, that's not on the Space or on the Wish You Were Here DVD. The set continued with Warm Wet Circles That Time of the Night. This is the 21st Century. And then it ended with the This Town Trilogy. Mark Kelly, it ended with the This Town Trilogy, not what you said to me last week, which was Splintering Hearts. I told you it ended with this. You wouldn't have it. And then the encore was Splintering Heart, Garden Party.
Get it off your chest, John.
I am. I'm not having it. He wouldn't have it from me, and I'm not having it from him. Just because he plays keyboards better than me. Encore was Splintering Heart, Garden Party, 3 Minute Boy, and Hey Jude.
Well, between This Is the 21st Century and This Town, that's not on the DVD, there was 2 wedding proposals.
Oh, was it?
Mm.
Brilliant. Well, if that was you, please comment in the Facebook group. We'd love to hear from you.
Well,
I mean,
And
if you're not together now, don't mention it.
one of those was certainly mentioned in the Q article. You remember the 2-pager?
Oh yeah,
was
because
in
there's
Q
an interview
magazine
with the
with
Q journalist on here, isn't there?
Yeah, there is on the DVD. But it's funny because there's two of the songs on the main set, which the band kind of interrupted, complaining that they didn't have the sounds for. One was Uninvited Guest that Mark didn't have his patches for.
Yeah.
And the other one was 21st Century, where Rothers says, it might sound a bit funny because I haven't got the right sounds for.
It does sound a bit different, to be fair to him, doesn't it? But
his lexicon died.
Yeah, he has given us a warning. Still sounds all right, I think.
Yep.
So do you want to hear what I saw on the screen?
Yeah.
The other songs.
Yes.
So according to what was behind them, whether they did rehearse this up or not, it was Grendel was one of them. We said Cathedral Wall, Estonia, Rich, Waiting to Happen, No One Can, This Strange Engine, which I think isn't it the only convention that they didn't play This Strange Engine?
Possibly.
Yeah. Afraid of Sunlight, 80 Days, Man of a Thousand Faces, If My Heart Were a Ball, It Would Roll Uphill, Deserved King, Out of This World, Season's End, The Space, Berlin, Easter, Hooks in You, A Legacy, The Party, Sugar Mice, and Under the Sun.
Wow. I mean, Mark reckoned they learned most of that.
5 hours. He said about 5 hours.
5 hours, he said. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, it's interesting when you look at what I was not going to blow the secrets, but when you look at what comes up on the following night, if some of those were in the bucket, then did they do the Sunday night set on the fly? Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Well, Sunday's just an afternoon set. It's only the acoustic set.
Oh yes, it's the acoustic set, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, there's no electric gig on the Sunday for this weekend.
Oh, of course.
But it's noticeable that this version of 3 Minute Boy, it's not how it goes now. It goes into Hey Jude rather than the big epic sprawl that it is nowadays.
Yeah.
It was very good.
A great night, though.
Was it not the extended version? Did it not go on in the La La La's for absolutely ages? That was my memory of it.
It did, but it went into Hey Jude.
Yeah.
It could be the origin of what we've got now, I suppose. Yeah. And then at midnight, the main hall closes. The after show party was in Luna's Rock Disco, provided by Andy Fox and Ian Gregory from Star Rock Bristol Star 107.3. Nice.
Let's rock.
He does loads of great work for charity.
Did he open with Backman Turn and Overdrive?
Barnes, you were still being good then. Can you remember Saturday night?
I was still being good. I don't think we even went out on Saturday night. I think we just bailed out after the gig, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I was being good. So.
I do remember it was the Grand National that day, because right across the road was a Bookies that was absolutely heaving. But we didn't win.
I remember the Grand National when we were at Wolves, but maybe that's one for another day.
Yes, it is, yeah.
But I'll tell you anyway, because it's funny. I got a pound off everybody and then put the jar down and lost the jar. with everybody's tickets. With everybody's tickets in it. So I've no idea who. It might even be the one where the race got cancelled. So in the end, I just gave it all to charity. And everyone's going, I want my money back. And it was just like anyway, you can cut that out, Craig.
No, say that.
Part of the evidence, my lord. So this was a very civilized weekend because it ended at 2:00 on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah,
so,
but we've got to go back to Saturday. Part two of Fraser.
Oh yes, sorry, the Norwegian party. Sorry, we did trail this, Fraser.
The Norwegian party, yeah.
Oh,
well, so we went to a chalet. I don't know quite how we got led there, but anyway, we ended up in this chalet full of Norwegians. Who else was there? Rich Harding was there, and playing guitars with Daz Newitt, I think it was. And the Norwegians were passing around this square bottle, and it was made out of this sort of marbled plastic, sort of bronzy color, passing it around to everybody, and God knows what was in it. I'm fairly certain it was boot polish, and that's what I always tell everybody. And So I was there, and then so there was Kate, this girl that I had been told, you've got to meet Kate. She's from your town, blah blah blah. And so it was the first time we really sort of got chatting, and we were chatting, and we were a little bit tipsy, and all the rest of it. And then Andreas Dahl, who is infamous in Marillion circles,
Yes.
came up and put his arm around her, and sort of he said to me, "Oh, you trying to pull this young lady, are you?" or something along those lines. And I said, "No, this is my wife." And he backed off in a sort of really sort of, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I'm terribly sorry." I've never come up with I never ever sort of had an icebreaker like it. And it was great. It sort of broke the ice, and we sort of got together, and yeah, that was it. So then we got married,
Well,
and
yeah.
a couple of years after that, and all the rest. So thank you, Marillion. Big cheers to you. And yeah, so that makes it all rather memorable for me.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
I don't think any of us can top that, Fraser. That's amazing. On a much lesser level, then Sunday, doors to the main hall opened at 12, and at 12:30 was the Marillion acoustic gig.
Did we have to pack up and get out of the chalets before we went to the gig?
We did.
We
did.
had to load up the cars and all that before the last thing. Yeah.
But before the acoustic gig, they played the Hollow Man again, didn't they?
Yes.
Because there'd been a problem with the filming the night before. So H was dressed in the garb, and they played the Hollow Man. And then, as is on the DVD, Pete took about 4 hours to tune up to start Go.
And they do take the piss out of him on the DVD.
Well, they had a go. They started it, didn't they? And Pete didn't like the sound of it, so he stopped it again. I mean, it says on Setlist FM there's an impromptu Costa del Slough, but would that be generous? I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah, there is.
No, it's on there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, H sings a few words to it. In fact, he sings all the words to it, but there's not much of a tune to it. It's more
Right.
Partly talking and partly singing, I think.
Yeah. And then we do eventually get Go. And then Sympathy, which is brilliant. I think it's a great version.
Yeah, because this acoustic gig, it's kind of acoustic. The only really like acoustic is Pete and Rothers, but Mark's playing full keyboard set, and Rothers is just playing acoustic guitar, but Ian's playing like drums as normal. So
I think it's a really good set. It's a shame for me that this never got a CD or a vinyl release. I think it's really nice. It's quite relaxed, quite mellow.
Was it one of the first times that we'd seen Afraid of Sunrise played?
Yeah, probably.
It wasn't played on the tour, and I can't necessarily remember it before that much.
I think there was a version of it. Is there a version of the Zodiac? But or they played a rough version of it during the .com tour. I'm sure I've heard one.
Right. Well, that's
but it hadn't been played.
Zodiac.
Yeah, it hadn't been played much.
Right. So yeah, track 3 is Afraid of Sunrise. Track 4, Cannibal Surf Babe. Then A Collection, The Space, Map of the World, and Gazpacho.
They did some prizes. They handed out some prizes between A Collection and The Space.
All right.
Cut from the DVD.
Right.
Yeah, it was Anne Bond and oh gosh, I'm going to get in trouble for not remembering who it was. It was certainly Anne Bond, and somebody else had gone around selling flags, and then there was a book that you won, so that was certainly one of the prizes that would have been given out.
Yeah, brilliant.
But that acoustic set was quite cool. I mean, it's quite loose.
I think it's great. It's really nice. Yeah.
I like the semi-acoustic version of Map of the World, especially. I think Gazpacho is really good as well. But, yeah.
There's not a duff track on it, to be completely honest with you. I think it's amazing start to finish.
Yeah. And it's a very civilized way. You don't need to take Monday off work, do you? You just drive home and then go back to your life,
Yeah.
But how was your weekend overall then? I mean, Fraser, obviously it was monumental for yourself.
It certainly was. certainly was. But I mean, putting that to one side, musically, yeah, it was phenomenal, and it was that thing of, excuse me, it was that thing of starting those friendships with people and really deepening them and everything. And I know that I've got it in front of me. There's the eWeb that they put out afterwards, and they sort of start talking about, you know, about it sort of being the start of the community and and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably true, that it really did sort of kick that off in a very big way, and the whole idea of the Marillion family for everybody.
Well, they took it and ran with it, didn't they? Because this is the one that was arranged by Sale Wilcox. And then the following year, they did their own and sort of made improvements and obviously changed location. And we'll talk about that probably next week, do you think, Craig?
It is.
Barnes, how was the old weekend in 2002?
Well, I loved it, and I've been back every time since. So that sort of sums it up, really.
What, you've been back to Brean Sands every year?
God, no.
He's taking another slat away.
I'll tell you what I was going to say a bit earlier, though. I was looking at watching the old. I watched the sort of bingo night, whatever it's called, the Saturday night set.
Yeah.
It's clearly the Brave set was a bit more serious because it's Brave, but it's unbelievable how sort of relaxed, and also the setting. It was almost not unprofessional, because that's the wrong way to say it, but how far they've come over the years. How far, their stage show and stage presence compared to what it was there. It was very, very lowbrow and very simple, wasn't it? And they didn't really have stage gear. They just wearing the regular clobber and just on stage, sort of in and among everybody, really. It seemed that sort of way.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the lighting being anything particularly special or anything like that. It was sort of, very simplistic, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. Do you remember? Did you see any of the faces that you now know on the video?
The only person I saw I think I saw Fraser on the video. Weirdly enough, are you on the queuing up outside, Fraser? Is that you, or one of your lookalikes? Anyway, if it's not you,
Yeah, I think I see him queuing up outside.
I could be. I'm afraid I haven't watched it in prep for this, so I need to go and have a look at it.
Yeah, but I don't recognise any of the others on there, to be fair.
Mike Barton's front and centre.
That's the only one I could see was Mike.
Flogging t-shirts around the back of his car.
How was your weekend, Mikey?
It was. I was going to say it was unforgettable, but I forgot so much of it. It's hard to say that now. But the member berries are kicking in, and obviously watching the DVDs back and listening to the live stuff again. It all came flooding back. Some of it came flooding back. It solidified what everybody was like experiencing at the gigs. It just took it to the next level, really, didn't it? I think I can only equate it to what people who enjoy football must go through when they're in a crowd, enjoying watching the football playing. You've got all these people around you. It's that camaraderie, and there was a couple of times when you see the band just clocking the audience and soaking up the atmosphere, and I think they must have realised, that the game had just changed ever so slightly.
Yeah,
they must have.
Yeah. Craig?
Yeah, but it was a big, change for the band, because from going from the Castle years into Anarachnophobia and into the fandom, and like Fraser said, the start of the Marillion family, this is where the fans really started to get together and, develop the relationship with the band and with each other. And it's the launch pad, and we were there in the beginning.
We were there.
Well, despite what everybody said, I'm on the film. You can see me singing during Hard as Love, and that proves I was there. So it also proves that I didn't always have grey hair, but that's another thing.
And also on the DVD with the Brave Live and Wish You Were Here. They're good, even they're not as good as quality anywhere near what Tim does now, but at least we've got a record that we can go back.
Yeah, I think if you've not got the Wish You Were Here set, I'd recommend you get a Space membership because it's all on there. All the extras, all the bonus stuff is on there, and you know, it's great to watch it back. It's really interesting if you compare it to what we're doing now. It's another lifetime, isn't it? Really.
But also old school. If you've got the DVD
Yeah.
of Rishua here and you want to get, because there is a bonus track which is the sound check version of the Hollow Man. Just find that on your bootleg bingo disc. It's the seagull on the right hand side. You'll be able to find it.
Yeah, we're back in the days of DVD
Easter eggs.
aren't we? Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The other thing that we haven't mentioned at all is the merch situation.
Oh yes.
Which I don't particularly remember the merch beyond. I still have the T-shirt, and Mikey was showing his chocolate, I think, earlier from back in the day, which must.
That's not a euphemism. That is a
hazardous. Must be hazardous by now, I would imagine. I've still got the wrapper on mine.
I don't have mine. I don't. But
was it? Did you get plastic bags with the Barry? Was that from that?
Yeah. It's on. There's folks queuing with the white plastic bag with the blue Barry on. Yeah, there's folks queuing.
Blue Barry. Yeah. And then it was the Barry with the lolly was the T-shirt, which I've still got that one.
Still,
it's
just the white T-shirt.
The thing
here he goes. Look.
Yeah. But
There's still load kicking from the racket club.
Yeah.
Sorry, Fraser.
I found that my white T-shirt has shrunk though since I bought it because it used to fit perfectly. Now it's a bit tight around the middle.
It's been on a hot wash.
It must be the hot wash. Yeah, it must be that.
But do you remember that cupboard? That it was that pokey little cupboard. It was like a Punch and Judy stall, virtually, that they were running merch out of. It was tiny.
Was it to the left of the stage? Have I dreamt that?
It was to the left of the stage, just out the door.
Yeah.
But it was just this little cubby, and I just remember George Wistow being in there, and I don't think she was supposed to or anything like that, but she sort of ended up getting stuck in there.
Well, again, she told it in last week's episode, but
did she? I'm terribly
sorry. She bought a ticket when you wouldn't. She bought a ticket, and she turned up, and she was treated as though she was part of the crew because she was running merch all the time.
Yeah, I do remember she was absolutely knackered.
Yeah. But it was a fairly memorable weekend, wasn't it? If you were there, you know, and if you weren't there, it's the start of what we've got now. All that remains to be said is thank you very much to Fraser Marshall.
You're very welcome.
Thanks, Fraser. Thank you, Andrew Barnsley Wood.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Mikey Kay.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, mate. Thank you, James Levey.
Pleasure as always.
Oh, is it Levy? No, we had
Levy
the weekend. No.
The Levy. Don't Levy to the Levy.
No, James Levey. And thank you to my co-host, or the boss, if you're talking to Lucy, Craig, who's...
Well, thank you. And what are we doing next week?
Shall we do another one of these? Shall we do
weekend
we 2003?
I think we need to go and visit Butlins.
The upgrade to Butlins. Thank you very much for listening, folks. If you've got this far, well done. All that remains to be said is it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Take care.
Go on, somebody bring it home for us.
And stay alive. Stay alive.
Hey.
Thanks for listening to Planet Marzipan Podcast. Please like and subscribe from whichever platform you get your podcasts from. You can contact us at planetmarzipanpodcast@gmail.com and check out marillion.com, fishmusic.scot for all